So today, doing a pre-ride of the Southern Cross route, and I'm starting where the pavement ends, and this is Hightower Church Road. It's just after you turn left on the pavement, go across the bridge down there at the, I don't know what creek that is, it's pretty big, but then you have a steep pavement climb, and then you come out to where you just saw the pavement ends. Here's where I park when I pre-ride. It's a Pierce Family Cemetery. Other than the tricky mass start where you come down a steep hill and go across a bridge inside of Monteluce Winery, you just have to watch that hard right after you go across the bridge. But then you start a climb before you exit Monteluce, and then you get out on the Hightower Church Road, turn left, and it continues climbing but more gradual. But then it's mostly downhill to the stop sign and turn left across the bridge down at the bottom. I'll show that on another video, the road portion, but based on time, I just want to show you the gravel section. So this is the first little downhill. You'll probably still be with a group, or a lot of riders, but last time I was out here, it was in really good shape, the whole course. But we've had some freeze thaw and a few storms, so it's probably gonna be a little wet. But I'm on my mountain bike instead of my hardtail. I'm on my full suspension mountain bike, and I've also been out here on my gravel bike. This is when you turn left on FS 28. Instead of going right towards the ranger camp. And you'll take this for a few miles before you'll cut across a little connector road to FS 77, but I'll show that later. Now you're going to roll up and down on 28. Some of the climbs are decent, and the downhill, there's at least two pretty fast ones. This is a gated road that goes down to the ranger camp, but you're going to continue straight on FS 28-1, and there's going to be a couple other roads that'll shoot off to the left and right. You're going to stay on the main road. Another road that shoots off in a trail, Black Branch Trail, comes in from the left, and again up here at the gated road, Black Branch will be on your left. But that road back there to your right, it goes to actually I think it continues as a trail because it's gated off instead of a road. So here's first downhill, real downhill. This road that goes off to the left, you're going to ignore. That's just out and back. I think that's a spur. It is gated off anyway. I don't know if you saw back there, but there was some freeze thaw. You can see when it's shiny. You gotta make sure, be careful. It's gonna be real slick. There was another road that came in from the right back there. Once again, most of these side roads are going to be gated, and you can tell which one's the main road. So you just stay straight on the main road until you get to this Y intersection, which there'll be some course marshal there telling you to go to the right. And it's a little shortcut across road to FS 77, which turns into winding stairs, which is the big climb. And once you hit 77, you'll turn right there as well. Take it all the way up to the top at Three Forks, where there'll be a rest stop. Of course, there'll be markers and people telling you which way to go. But you got to remember, these roads are still open, so there could be vehicles, other cyclists, probably not horses. That's usually on the trails. There's a trail over there to the left. I think it's Moss Creek, and there's a campsite here, right here at the creek. To the right is where Turner Creek comes in, the trail. And of course, this is all gravel road and a little bit of pavement. So no trails on this route. So here to the left is where a trail goes off, and 28 continues straight. We're going to take this shortcut over to 77 and turn right. There's a side parking lot up here to the right, and this connector trail on the right goes to that. There's also a trail on the other side down there that goes over to the dam, but we're doing gravel today. So here's 77, which turns into winding stairs, and we're going to climb it all the way up to Three Forks, where once again there's a aid station. Continue on the ridge, but you got this big climb coming up. Up here on the right where this van is, it's where they used to have a game check-in station, and I park here sometimes. But parking at the cemetery keeps it more on course, and you get to do all the gravel without the opening 3.5 miles or so of pavement from the winery. As you can see up ahead on 28 and FS 77, there's a lot of red clay. So if it rains that week, it's going to be slick. So you really just need to worry about that on curves, or mainly going fast downhill, because it's a pretty hard packed base like this underneath. It's just they use red clay for road maintenance, which is I like because it makes a lot smoother, and I like flying downhill. So, but we're climbing for now. So we just got through coming down a descent on FS 77. To the left is the Jones Creek Dam Trail and 77A that goes down to a campground. Over here to the right, behind this log, is a little cut through to Turner Creek trail, and we're gonna continue on 77, which is I guess now it's Winding Stairs Road, Winding Stairs Gap Road, something like that. And we're going to climb all the way up. I think it's 2.5 or 3 miles. It's a steep, typically loose, difficult climb to Three Forks, where the aid station is. One thing to look out for, even though you're climbing, all these blind curves on winding stairs, it's really more of an issue if you're coming down it. But, and even in a race, the roads are open, although they'll usually see all the course marshals and or aid stations or signs, and they should give way. But if you're out here pre-riding, watch out for cars coming fast around the blind curve. There's the top of Turner Creek, but once again, it's permanently closed to cars. It's got a guardrail blocking it, and you're staying straight on 77. See, here's some freeze thaw that now it's thawed out, but if I was coming downhill, I'd definitely slow up for shiny or dark looking mud section, especially if I'm turning at an angle. So this is a worse section of freeze thaw. Of course, climbing, you can take your time and go to the right. But coming down here, I'm usually going down on that side. And you can see how rough it is. You got all these ruts. This is one of the worst sections of this climb. So, and it's not that long, so it's just steeper, more rut, and you got some freeze thaw. But you get past that, levels out, smooths out a little bit. Yeah, here's some freeze thaw that's still frozen. That's pretty sloppy. But again, there's a line to go around it, especially going slow climbing. So if you're an old fat man like me, or just old, or just heavy, or a beginner, this little primitive campsite, I guess that's about halfway up the climb. This is usually, if my heart rate's jacked, I'll pull over here and grab something to eat. Yeah, this is not the steepest, but this is one of the steep sections. And you can see it go uphill for a ways, so it's kind of intimidating, but just slow and steady. I'll stand up from time to time to give my butt and back a break and just push a bigger gear, or I'll just sit back down and spin in easy gear. That's kind of what I'm doing now. And this is a rough section as well, but they've cleaned it up a good bit. Here's a False Summit. It's a saddle, and right before it pitches up probably the steepest part of the climb. This last, I don't know, half mile, maybe a little less, but at least there's some pretty views. This is where the last steep section climbs up, but there's a little hump right there, and it keeps going for a ways, so it's kind of misleading. It's a pretty steep, long climb. It's hard to tell in the video. Now you can see the rest of the climb, and it still keeps climbing past what you can see here. So you better save some energy for this part, It's the last part of the climb, steepest, longest, intimidating, but it's supposed to be hard. This is the top of the view up the hill that I showed you in the last clip. And like I said, it just keeps going. Even up there, that's not the top. It'll flatten out a little bit, but you climb all the way to the end. See? It keeps going. This is one of the reasons I'm on my mountain bike. It's because I have a 32 chain ring and a 52 tooth cog at the big ring in the back to help me climb this. But then I got the fat tires and full suspension for the downhill, because there's some good downhill. You just have to get past this first big climb, winding stairs, and then the rest of it is manageable if you don't blow up like I usually do. Not to sound like a broken record, but we're still climbing. A lot of false summits on this climb, so you can just take it one step at a time, or section at a time, but don't get too excited. And I wanted to give you the more the everyday person doing these events. My friend Jeremiah Bishop, he filmed this in a race a couple years ago, and there he's flying with the front group and carrying so he's riding one-handed, carrying the camera in the other hand and talking. You can hear me. It's hard for me to talk because I'm out of breath, but most people are going to struggle on that climb. That's a pro level climb. So, and we're right around the corner from the end. Well, not the end, but the end of the climb. So, most of my advice is going to be for the beginner, older, heavier rider. Somebody, this is their first time doing this course. And it makes a difference. All these little things that can give you an edge or a little extra help will add up and make it more enjoyable, but also more doable. And now we're to the Three Forks area. Now normally you're just going to turn left right here, and right in front of you is going to be an aid station, but actually now that road is normally it's just a little cut through. I started late and filming and running back and forth in certain sections and going slower. I'm running out of daylight, and it's already super cold out here, and I had to put my jacket and a skull cap back on. But so we're just going to finish this out. It's still a ways to go. Even on the ridge, there's like 2 or 3 big climbs before you drop down to the right on Cooper's Gap, which will run you past the ranger camp and the 4-H camp back over to the truck at where the pavement starts back on Hightower Church Road. So that's where we're at. So here's one of the first of many medium length downhills on the ridge. There is one on the ridge that is longer and pretty fast. It's probably one of the between that section I'm talking about and the Cooper's Gap Road. Those are the two that I get up to almost 40 miles an hour. So they're steep and long, and in some sections long straightaway, so you can get going fast. But up here, there's just these shorter downhills. This place is always wet over here on the ridge, and I guess because it's up on the ridge and colder, if there's going to be ice, it's going to be here. But it's not as wet as normal, but there is still ice here at 4 something in the afternoon. So, but the good thing about once you made it to this portion of the ridge, the up and down rolling stuff, and especially the downhills, and if you're a bigger rider, you can definitely make up time, catch a few of your buddies, and it's not near as bad as the initial portion where you got the big winding stairs climb. Don't get me wrong, you still have at least one, if not two, notable climbs going this way, but nothing like winding stairs. Another one of the downhills, not a long one, but still, down's better than up. Goes up a little bit here, but then back down. Usually wet over here and frozen, which it is. Oh, wild hogs. I don't know if you saw that. I'm glad I was recording. They were big. I don't know where they, oh, there they are. Running down the hill. That was cool. Ah, more downhill. Well, I get your blood pumping. I think this drops all the way down the High Tower Gap, which is I forgot the Forest Service road that goes off to the left. Yeah, watch out for this sharp turn. That's a campsite over there. Oh, they smoothed it out. Oh, look at the icicles coming off the rocks. Wow. Big stretch of ice. Ugh. I would have gone around it, but there wasn't much of an edge. Well, I was expecting to see maybe some bear, but not wild boar. One was black and one was like a reddish brown. They're pretty cool. They were big. I didn't know they were that big up this way. Almost to the gap. Then we got a big climb back up. Try to do a little front wheelie through those muddy, wet sections, even though I've got a little mud guard on the front. I don't think it'll stop all of that mud. Wow, they smoothed this out. Nice. Yeah, a lot of those curves are usually full of bumps and ruts for people slowing up. Here's High Tower Gap. We're going to the right here. This is really straight, but there's a little enduro trail somebody built to the right. See, this is one of the big climbs coming up out of High Tower Gap. But a lot more gradual and manageable, but you feel it after having all those miles in your legs and having climbed so much. It's a neat little campsite. So we're at the top of the climb coming out of the High Tower Gap. Now another downhill. I think this is the fast one. I may be wrong. They're all fast when you weigh as much as me. Gravity is my friend when you're going downhill. Oh, it's windy on this side. Especially in the winter. We're on the north side of the ridge. It stays dark, cold, wet, windy. But you have some of the best downhills over here. I need a rest day tomorrow. It's supposed to rain all day. I had a big climb yesterday up Buzzard's Roost. Another downhill. Here comes a dirt bike. Another cool campground. A lot of primitive sites up here. Oh, here's the fast section. Straight shot. Hopefully you can see those rocks covered in ice up on the hillside and down here near a road. That's pretty cool, because this is usually flowing water, but that's a big slab of ice. It's top of another climb. That little side road goes out to an overlook. Now we got another downhill. Looks like an ice waterfall up ahead, but this dips down, but it goes up one more time at least. So enjoy the downhill while you can. That's cool. Oh, more ice. That just shows you how cold it is on this backside. I mean, by the time the race gets here, March 7th, it'll be hopefully a lot warmer. Of course, I don't do well in the heat. Oh, that's cool. I would stop and take pictures, but the hippie van, that's cool ice. Still going down. Well, lost all my speed trying to take a picture of the ice falls. But it's a lot faster than going uphill. This is where another intersection, this is Cooper's Gap. FS 15 goes off to the left. I think it's 15. This 42 continues straight, but we're going right and going down Cooper's Gap Road. It's FS 80. This is pretty fast. It gets a little loose in some turns. You gotta watch out for the water bars. Well, not water bars, but washboard. way inside, so I can go into the close to the bank, get away from the car. Ooh, my fingers are froze. Cutting close to the daylight. Getting a lot colder as the sun goes behind the mountains. And it's a little cloudy. I guess that storm, well, the rain comes in first, then the ice comes in the day after and over the weekend. Rattling my brains out. Not only do I want to swing wide and cut deep, but on a lot of gravel roads, even on trails, the best line is typically all the way to the inside or all the way to the outside of the trail or the road, because everything washes out of the middle if it's there's a descent at all, where the grade drops, and a lot of rocks and roots and ruts will be exposed down the middle, and the edges are usually smoother. Yeah, this guard at the ranger station got on to one of my friends from running the stop sign, so I'm going to stop. Said he could ticket him. I think the bigger issue was because there was somebody coming out. Okay, there's a ranger station to the right, and then there's I forgot the name of that road, but there's the church we park at sometimes, Mount Zion. But we're going towards the 4-H camp here. Turns back to gravel, and then we just go up a little ways and turn left on the Hightower Church Road where I'm parked. So we're on our way down the 4-H camp. This road here goes to the right, goes into the camp, and eventually it splits off to that Forest Service road we passed earlier on 28 in the beginning. But this is a fun downhill, but it's got a real sharp turn down here at the bottom, so you gotta be careful. Build up the speed, but then you have to scrub most of it to make the turn. Pretty cool 4-H camp down here. We used to have a mountain bike event. I can't remember the name of it. It was a camp, like a multi-day camp. But I think they did a race as well. There's the camp down there. Here's that sharp turn. It's like a 180 turn. I guess get you to scrub your speed before you come close to the kids camp. It's a cool climbing wall. Okay, we'll continue on FS 28. It's pretty down here along the river. It's just cool how it goes along the river here, or creek. Most of the way back, you're right here on the edge. This, of course, that's where it's caving in, and more campsite. Plenty of places to camp out here if you want to camp out here or at the venue. You're going to stay here to the left or straight on the main road. This bridge right here, sometimes if it rains it gets flooded, but the camera people usually set up there to catch people splashing through the puddle if it's wet. And when you're near the end of the ride, even gradual climbs like this feel like they take forever. Once we turn left up here on Hightower Church Road, you'll dip down and a fairly steep climb getting back up on top, and then you'll drop down on the road back across the bridge, back the way you came. Up here's where we came in at on Hightower Church. So you just take that all the way back to the winery, but right before you get to the roundabout road entrance for the winery, you'll take a single track around the gate. It takes you through the back way and down to a creek and up a grassy hill to the finish line, which is steeper than you think, so it's hard to catch somebody. I know, I try to sprint people multiple times on that grassy hill. So, but up here is where we're going to turn left, and even once you get to the paved road on the other side of the bridge, it's like a gradual up and down, but mostly up on the road. And if it's hot, you're exposed out on that asphalt and you get cooked. So pace yourself there. And if we went straight, that's the way we went in the beginning. That's 28-1. But we're going back on Hightower Church Road. And a fun little short downhill. But then you got to climb. Of course, if you're free riding out here, watch these blind turns. Yay! Back to the end, or back to the truck. So, like I said, once you hit the pavement up here, you'd have so like roughly 3.5 miles on the pavement, and then you get that last little bit of single track. There's the cemetery. Pierce family. Yeah, that took about to do just over 22.5 miles. It took 2.5 hours. So, and that's enough for me.